Hello, Tom Scott here, brand ambassador with The Exchange, and in this video we're going to take a look at Scotch Whisky and some of the brands within our portfolio. Now, the governing body that regulates and controls the classification of Scotch is quite strict, but the simplest things to remember is that Scotch Whisky is whisky, which is an aged grain spirit, which is produced, aged and bottled in Scotland. We have different types of Scotch Whisky, which include blended Scotch Whisky and single malt Scotch Whisky. Let's first take a look at single malt whisky. To be a single malt, there are 3 regulations you have to adhere to. The first being the spirit must be produced from 100% malted barley. Second, the still used has to be a copper pot still. And finally, all the spirit has to be produced at one single distillery. So in the case of Bowmore Distillery, all the spirit is produced at Bowmore. Same with Lefroy. Next, let's look at blended Scotch whisky. To be a blended whisky, it is inherent in the name that it is a blend of multiple whiskies. This is generally a blend of 2 different styles, which include single malt whiskies, along with grain whisky. Now, grain whisky differs from single malts in the fact that it can be produced from any type of cereal grain and can use either pot or continuous distillation methods. Let's now take a look at Teacher's Blended Scotch Whisky, one of the highest selling Scotch whiskies in the United Kingdom. Established in 1830, it is famed for being a peated blended Scotch whisky. Now, peated means that during the malting process of converting barley into malted barley, the utilization of peat fires helps to impart a smoky characteristic to the whisky, a very traditional method that is still used in many distilleries today, including Bowmore and Lefroy. The smokiness in Teacher's comes from one of its most notable distilleries, which is the Ardmore Distillery. When measuring the peat level of whiskies, we talk about in parts per million, or ppm. In a whisky like Lefroy, the ppm is around 45, and this is a heavily peated whisky. In the case of Bowmore, it is around 25, and this is a medium peated whisky. In the case of Teacher's, it is a low peat whisky, and is below 10 parts per million. Let's now take a look at the Bowmore Distillery. Established in 1779, Bowmore is the oldest still producing whisky distillery on the small coastal island, the west coast of Scotland, known as Islay. An island that is famed for having big, bold, smoky whiskies like that of Bowmore and Lefroy, and is also considered the birthplace of Scottish whisky. Bowmore is also home to one of the oldest whisky aging facilities in the world, known as the No. 1 Vaults. Along with the prestigious history of Bowmore, it is also sought after by whisky enthusiasts the world after, in particular for its classical flavours of charred tropical fruits and sea salt caramel. Let's now take a look at Lefroy. Thanks to its dedicated and loyal fan base, along with a unique and unforgettable flavour profile, Lefroy has become one of the most popular whiskies around the world and is the No. 1 whisky sold from the island of Islay. Its distinct characteristics and flavours come from its unique peat source, which is exclusively owned by the Lefroy distillery. It's this peat utilised in the malting process that helps to impart aspects and flavours such as charred lemon, seaweed, barbecued prawns, along with a medicinal quality. Beyond the distinctive and unique flavours imparted to the whisky thanks to the private peat source we have, Lefroy 10-year-old is also aged exclusively in ex-Maker's Mark bourbon barrels, which help to add a lovely vanilla sweetness to the whisky. Now, with Teacher's Blended Scotch Whisky, thanks to its light peat characteristics and soft caramel sweetness, I would recommend this whisky to be mixed, either in a whisky highball or a whisky and coke. Whereas Bowmore and Lefroy, with their complex characteristics and distinct flavours, is best enjoyed either neat or on the rocks. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening. Bye.